Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is August 5th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery with the lightning overlay. You can see we've got quite a bit of thunderstorm activity across Oregon and Washington this morning, and we're going to put this into motion starting from yesterday morning. You can see the marine layer here, some of this monsoon moisture moving across the region. Marine layer burns back, nice sunny afternoon, but look at the thunderstorms develop off the Cascades of Oregon. The models did a pretty good job with that. In fact, probably underdid it a bit here, as you can see all the way down across the southern Oregon Cascades. Lightning activity moving up towards the Oregon-Washington border. A little bit of a pause in the activity there across the Oregon Cascades, but look at this right after midnight there across some of the foothills even of western Oregon and the Cascades and some of the Blue Mountains here, eastern Oregon, and then that moves up into the southern Washington Cascades and out across eastern Washington, and this is where we are right now. So that thunderstorm activity going as I scroll back and forth. This has the potential to start some fires out there, which is not good because we got some onshore flow and those winds could help feed those fires here over the next day or so. We're going to dive into those details. And again, one more close-up look at that as we go in towards this morning. You can see the marine there punched in towards the Chehalis Gap there into the Puget Sound. Nice cool morning out there, actually. Quite nice. You can see the Strait of Juan de Fuca and into the valley areas of the Vancouver Island region. And you can see into the Olympic Mountains. And again, if you're across the higher terrain, you are in the sunshine as the sun rises, and you can look out over that marine layer. Same thing with the Oregon coast there as well. You can see Mount Rainier here. There's Mount Baker. And again, all this thunderstorm activity continues to stream across eastern Washington. Taking a look, I clicked on a station here north of Sunnyside. Look at this in the last 3 hours. 113 lightning strikes here. The last strike was about 25 miles away or so. And then you can go to that individual location and look at all these lightning strikes. You can see some of them are pretty close to the station. They're inside of 5 miles. Actually, look at that one was 0 to 2. So right there at the station about 4:50 a.m. No doubt waking some people up there across some of eastern Washington, the Cascades as well, out towards the Tri-Cities, Yakima, whatnot. Now, if we take a look at today, as this activity moves off to the north and east, it will be waning as we go through the day today. There is a marginal risk for some wind out here. Severe wind is 58 miles per hour or greater. Here's day 2. You can see wind and hail threat moves off across Montana, and the categorical threat moves across British Columbia, extreme northeast Washington, northern Idaho Panhandle, and includes Missoula and Butte as well. And day 3 pushes off to the east, as you see. Now, taking a look at SeaTac yesterday, 82 degrees. Boeing Field checking in at 84. Actually, this is the wrong data here. That is August 4th, so good thing I looked at that. This was yesterday. You can see the warmer conditions, 88 at Boeing Field, 85 at SeaTac in Renton, 87. Look at Vancouver, Washington, 92 degrees. Olympia, 86. Nice and much more comfortable there on the coastal areas for the mossbacks here across Pacific Northwest. Stampede Pass checking in at a warm 79. And as we scroll down here, look at Pasco, Hanford, and Richland, all 103 or hotter. So yeah, interesting stuff there. There's Walla Walla checking in at 98. Yakima at 99 degrees. Thunderstorm outlook. This again for today. This is a Pendleton National Weather Service. Could get some gusty winds with this activity as well, but this is moving across as we speak right now, and then it'll be eventually ending as we go through the day today. So heads up for that. You can see, we're not talking about big hail or anything like that for the most part, but there is some gusty winds. And all these storms do contain dangerous lightning as well. And Spokane also talking about this, the red flag warning here. You're not getting much rain with these storms for the most part. And again, some gusty outflow winds, and we're going to kick the onshore flow going. So hopefully those strikes last night and this morning did not cause any new fires out there. This was updated this morning. So if we take a look at what is going on here, this is the activity moving here. You can see some of the cyclonic relative vorticity moving across the area. And again, the onshore flow here, you can see the big ridge of high pressure out there, out across the Intermountain West and the Southwest USA. So this is going to cool us down for a couple days here. But as we scroll that through, then we're going to start to relax the gradient again and start to warm the Pacific Northwest up again as we go through the end of the week coming up here. More on that in a moment. So taking a look at the high resolution rapid refresh, you can see that it is picking up on this. This is about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So I guess it was covering that. Not too bad. At least it showed the threat of this lightning moving up across this morning. And then as we go through the afternoon hours, you can see again maybe another round here for the Blue Mountains, some Idaho Panhandle. And then we go on in towards Tuesday. And then that threat for Tuesday should be pushing off to the east. As you see, we don't get the redevelopment of that thunderstorm activity there Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday evening. So taking a look at the North American model, the high resolution, you can see as we go through this morning, we've got a bit of onshore flow here, but watch what happens as we go through this afternoon and this evening. You can really see it start to rip across some of the Cascade Gaps here and across some of the east slopes of the Cascades out into the Columbia Basin, eastern Oregon. Also, you can see a nice surge of westerlies down the Strait of Juan de Fuca. So this could be helping to kick off any kind of, or helps get that any lightning strikes that actually caught on to something, some trees across the Cascades or grassland fires there across eastern Washington. That could help spread those fires as we go. But as we go towards the end of the run here, we go through one more on Tuesday evening here with the onshore flow, and then we start to relax that gradient again. You can start to see it come back out of the east and the northeast there across eastern Washington as we go through the day Wednesday, and then that's when we're going to start our little warm up again here. And you can see that this is the national blended model. This is 82 degrees for today, but cooling back down a bit tomorrow. Then we start that slow, steady climb as we go through Thursday and Friday. And then we've got some interesting stuff coming through the extended. I'll show you that here in the GFS model in a moment. But I also wanted to show a wider view of things here in the National Blended Models. There's Seattle, Portland. You can see Eastern Washington probably punching up over 100 degrees. Again, maybe the Tri-Cities just over 100 degrees as well. And we go through tomorrow, a little bit of a cool down showing up there. And same thing for western portions. Then we go through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we start to warm things back up again. But we're not showing hundreds. We're just showing some upper 90s, maybe mid and upper 90s for Friday and Saturday for eastern Washington. So that's good news there, because it's been pretty downright hot summer, especially east of the Cascades. And then we squall towards Thursday, and you got to start taking things with a grain of salt at that range. But looking at the smoke, this is the high resolution rapid refresh. This is the 12Z run. This is vertically integrated, so this is not necessarily at the surface. We're going to play through this, and as we go through this afternoon, you can see some of these fires flare up across like Oregon Cascades here, and this is not any of the new fire activity. This is still the retreat fire here, and you've got some fires ongoing across British Columbia right on the Oregon-Washington border there, producing quite a bit of smoke also. And then you can see as we go through Tuesday, we kind of get the backlash here as this comes down out of British Columbia. This is a loft right now, but we'll be watching this to see if any of this is going to be surface-based. And again, as we go through Tuesday afternoon, you see the fires flare up again. So looking at the Tri-Cities, this is the 11Z HER. So this is just for on in through tonight, but you can see there is some surface smoke out there. It's not too terribly thick for the Tri-Cities, but there is some smoke aloft as well, so things are going to be hazy. This is Bend, a little bit worse here. That layer, just off the surface is pretty nasty, and then you can see maybe some worse conditions coming as we go on in through tonight. The 11Z run here on the high resolution rapid refresh. Spokane, there is surface smoke out there also, and this again goes through tonight. This is about 11 p.m. Monday by the time this diagram ends. Looking at Portland, there is a little bit of smoke aloft, but nothing too bad, and at least there's nothing at the surface. And again, this is just for today. Seattle, Tacoma, and not expecting any smoke out there right now. This is Seattle, Tacoma. Kind of taking a look here at the cross-section of temperatures. The top of this diagram here is at 10,000 feet, and you can see the warming here as we go through the afternoon hours, but a little bit cooler there as we go through Tuesday. Then we start that steady climb back as we go through Thursday and Friday. Pretty warm days, some mid to upper 80s across a lot of western Washington. So now taking a look at the European on the left versus the GFS on the right, we took a look at a system here over 200 hours out. We're going to take a look at that again here. You can see the huge ridge up across northern portions of Canada, kind of a Rex block deal going on there, and not too much so. That low's getting out of there pretty quick, but you can kind of see we've got some ridging here right off our coastline. Then we start to bring this trough in here, and you can see that's where the disagreement really starts to emerge between the GFS on the right. The GFS would be much more favorable for some kind of thunderstorm activity getting back out over the lowlands versus this more classic trough that drops down across western BC. So you can see some pretty big disagreement. You'd have that southeasterly flow, some defluence aloft there, and that could bring some thunderstorm activity, could bring some fun stuff. But I gotta caution you guys, this is just fantasy forecast for now. You can see the big model disagreement coming up here on this trough as we go through the 240-hour plus period. You're still looking, over a week out. So we'll just continue to monitor that day by day and be checking back. Now, on that fantasy forecast here, we're going to take a look at what it would show on the GFS. We're going to scroll all the way out. We're going out 150. We're over 180 hours right there. And then we start to see that system there rolling off our coastline. And so what happens there is you start to see this. That would be convective activity here on the Oregon coast. You can see that moving up across western Oregon, western Washington. So if that fantasy did emerge, that would be the case. And that could bring some thunderstorm activity across western Washington up to western BC as well, and then eventually spread across British Columbia with that low just kind of spinning off the coastline. Could get a couple rounds of convection out of a system like that, but still purely fantasy right now. Just something to look at. Sometimes it's slow in the summer and you like to look at a fantasy forecast as such. Now, they probably could have had some of the lightning strikes like I mentioned yesterday, and see if this is updated. It has not, but they didn't. But they have the elevated risk out there. But quite a few lightning strikes, hundreds of lightning strikes up across Oregon and Washington going on this morning. So hopefully that is not kicking off any new fires. And if you missed that, I got some Seafair pictures here, just show you the ones I was showing yesterday. Nice shockwave there in the Air Force F-35, and check it out. Nice condensation there above and below the aircraft here. Another shock wave on the F-35 there. And it shoots out these little flares as well. So it was fun out there. And this is the high-speed pass at low elevation across Lake Washington, the Blue Angels there. A little shock wave showing up also. Then one more thing here before we go. 8 to 14 day. You can see the above average signal here, August 12th through 18th, with the above average signal for precipitation, starting to pick up on that troughing. But like I mentioned, big model disagreement on just how that is going to set up, and that will have big differences in what kind of weather we can expect here across the region. This is 3 to 4 week temperature. This was issued just 3 days ago here, August 17th through August 30th, second half of August. Kind of see that above average signal across a lot of the Pacific Northwest. Equal chances for precip, but this is the entire month of August. This is issued, almost a week ago now, July 31st, but it does have that above average signal across much of the West and the below average signal here across the Pacific Northwest. We'll see how that trends as we go. But yeah, played this through one more time. I mean, look at all that thunderstorm activity yesterday across Oregon. Some of that got into Washington, then it really got into Washington last night. You can see it started across the northern Oregon Cascades, and just hundreds of lightning strikes streaming across the region as we speak. Don't have a good feeling about that because, there's some pretty dry conditions out there. Quite a few lightning strikes over the Cascades and the east slopes there, getting out towards Yakima. So cross your fingers here that we don't start kicking up any more big fires there across the Cascades. We'll see how that goes, and we'll revisit that here over the next few days as we take a look at the fires coming up over the next few days as well. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day otherwise, or a good morning out there. Get out and enjoy your day, and we'll do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.